And then I was absolutely devastated when I got a phone call about a year and a half later. What's going on, everybody? It's Sasha, your real estate market expert here in Charlotte. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, consider subscribing if you want to learn everything there is to know about Charlotte, some of its surrounding areas, and our real estate market. So today's video is going to be a little ironic. As you know, I'm a realtor, so what sparked this video was I had a meeting last week with a potential buyer, and we kind of went through her lifestyle, her finances, and everything that goes into searching for the right property. And at the end of the conversation, it didn't really make sense for her to be buying a house right now. So today I'm actually going to give you the top 5 reasons I think you should not be buying a house right now. So if you're currently in the market right now or might be within the next year or two of buying a home, make sure you watch this entire video because one of these reasons might resonate with you and might give you a change of heart and help you make your decision in the future. With that being said, let's get into reason number 1, which is if you do not plan on living there for at least 3 to 5 years, you shouldn't be buying a house right now. My recommendation would be that you make a plan to at least own it for 5 years, but we all know how life is. Sometimes some things come up and you have to sell it before that. But initially speaking, I would just have you plan on living there for a minimum of 5 years. That way, once you do sell it, the house is appreciated enough over those years where you can make some money, break even, and depending on what market cycle we're in, you might even take a little bit of a loss. But more often than not, it depends what market you're in. Houses appreciate anywhere from 2 to 5% per year on average. So more than likely you'll be walking away with some money. So keep that in mind. Make sure you want to stay in the house for at least a minimum of 5 years. So you're in a good position when you do sell that house to move on to the next one. Now, all this is going to be on a case-by-case basis, and it depends on where you are living. You can't compare a market on the West Coast to a market on the East Coast. Every state, every location is different. For example, I had a client, we bought a house over a year ago. It was in a up-and-coming neighborhood. We ended up getting the house for $212,000. Today, if you wanted to list it on the market, we'd be in the low 300s, probably listed around 315, 310, somewhere around there. And you can see he got a ton of appreciation. He got 50% plus appreciation in just over a year, which his risk paid off. He bought in an up-and-coming neighborhood, and he's able to walk away with that money if he were to sell. His plans are long-term, so he's going to keep the house 5-10 years plus, and eventually it's almost guaranteed he's going to double his money, especially being here in Charlotte. It's a great place to buy some real estate while it's still affordable. Reason number 2 that you shouldn't buy a house is if you do not like maintenance. So when you own a house, you have to maintain that home. It's almost similar to a car. You don't change the tires, you don't do certain things, all these lights start popping up, and then at the end, you get hit with this huge bill. Or when you go get an oil change, you just ask for an oil change, they come back, you got to change the filter, the belt, all the fluids, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And a prime example of somebody that shouldn't be owning a house is when you're driving, if you see a nice neighborhood and the house has boarded up windows, there's a tarp on the roof, the grass hasn't been cut in months, these are people that should not have bought a house because now they're just digging themselves deeper and deeper into repairs. So if you don't like doing yard work, you don't like cleaning gutters, and you don't have the finances to pay for somebody else to maintain the house for you or do landscaping, you might want to reconsider home ownership. I currently live in a townhome that we bought over 3 years ago, and I bought a townhome because I'm one of these people that don't like maintenance. I'd rather spend my weekends doing something fun, going out, than cutting the grass and worrying about certain things around the house. So if you don't like maintenance, but you still want to be a homeowner, you might want to opt in for a condo or a townhouse. Reason number 3 is something that is not talked about often at all. I would probably say it's the least talked about, and that is unstable relationships. So if you're in a relationship and you have a significant other and you're looking to buy a home and spend time together, but you know how your relationship is, if you're on and off again and things of that nature, if things just aren't really going well, Sometimes couples will say, hey, let's buy a house thinking that it might be able to solve some problems. Unfortunately, that's not the way you want to go. So if you have an unstable relationship or a very new relationship, it might be a good idea not to buy a home right now. Reason being, I've seen this firsthand. I've worked with a couple before that were head over heels for each other. They were like absolutely in love. They had a family. And then I was absolutely devastated when I got a phone call about a year and a half later saying that they were splitting up. And then things got a little bit messy with, selling the house. They wanted to sell it, they didn't want to sell it, and things of that nature. So I'm speaking from experience. You want to be in a steady relationship. Things do happen, things come up. I'm speaking for a majority of the time. But if you know where your relationship status is, if it's a little unsteady, it might be a good idea to put the home buying on pause for now and revisit it at a later time when you feel more stable. Now that we talked about unstable relationship, it brings us into reason number 4, which is going to be job stability. So when you're buying a home, the banks usually do a really good job. They look through your bank statements. They make sure you have normal, regular income coming in consistently before you actually can get approved. But if you hear some rumors going around, if your job is a little bit iffy, or if you personally don't feel secure, it's not a good idea to buy a house where it's going to lock you into a mortgage payment at that time. So make sure you have some job stability. And right now, the whole coronavirus situation is going on, and a lot of things are unsteady right now. And people, they don't know what's happening day to day, let alone with what, everything else that's been going on. So a good thing is a lot of people that weren't laid off, they can consider themselves that they have really good job stability. And those are the people that I'm seeing in the market right now is, nobody that got laid off, nobody that had to take, a month or two off of work. Those are the people that are out shopping and buying for homes right now because they have some good job stability happening. Next up is finances. So if your finances aren't in order, you don't have any reserves in the bank, it's not a good idea to buy a house right now, and you should put it on pause. You always want to make sure you're comfortable and you have some money in your bank when you're making such a big decision. And that doesn't just go for housing, that goes for any big purchase that you make. Make sure you're comfortable when you're making it and setting yourself up for success, not failure. A trip to IKEA can be really expensive if you're just throwing stuff in the shopping cart trying to fill up a house. I really hope you found this information helpful and maybe it opened your eyes up a little bit more to think about buying a home, and maybe if it's just not right for you, not to end up doing it. For a lot of people, it's just better to rent, especially if you have a lifestyle that, you're moving every year, it's really unstable, you want to travel across the country and things of that nature. Don't buy a house, rent, save up as much as you can. For some people, buying a house is never going to be in the cards, but it all depends on what you want. If you want to buy a house, buy a house. If you don't. But these are a couple reasons that you might want to consider for why you shouldn't be buying a house right now. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you got some good value out of this. If there's any questions I can answer for you, anything I can do for you, call, text, or email me anytime. I'm always happy to help. Take care. See you on the next one. Bye.